It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the Naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, welcome on in to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 16 today. We are really glad that you are with us, however you found us, however you listen to us, on whatever platform you use to listen to us. We are just glad that you do. We are all over the place. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and that hits Spotify right away, 6 a.m. Eastern Time, Saturday morning on Spotify. From there, it goes to many places, and we are not in control of when it goes to those other places, but we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on TuneIn, Stitcher, we are on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Amazon/Audible. We are also on iHeartRadio, Podbean, Deezer. We are all over the place. So wherever you go for your podcast, merely type in Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, and you should find this show ready to go. Many of you write in frequently, and we are glad that you do. We read everything here, and we respond to everything as well. You can reach us by email. We're a little skittish about email because we had an incident or two recently, which we might tell you about one of these days. We don't want to embarrass anybody yet. But you can reach us there, and we will respond nakedforevermore@gmail.com. That's nakedforevermore@gmail.com. Those come in to me, and I monitor all of those. If you have a question for Lisa Monroe, though, I will make sure that she gets the email, and she will respond accordingly. Otherwise, those emails come to me, and I will respond to you. Perhaps the better way to get a hold of us is through Twitter, and you can find us there, Naked, Nudist, and Naturist as well. Just type it in the search bar. We will come up and send us a DM, a direct message, if you will, on Twitter. I monitor all of those, but our administrative assistant, Jennifer Hill, monitors them as well. And it's most likely that she and I will both send in whatever you send in, unless you've specified for Jennifer's eyes only or for Frank's eyes only. And then we honor those requests. There are a few people who have a running dialogue with Jennifer. A few people have a running dialogue with me. Otherwise, when you write in, we will probably both see it and read it, and one of us will respond. Usually I will respond, but not always. A lot of times Jennifer does as well. The reposting, the posting, the tweeting, whatever you call it, those are mostly done by me. So if you see a post or a tweet or a repost or a like, 99% of the time, those will come from me. So if you have any questions, you can write in, and we'll be glad to respond. I also want to guide you to our website because you can reach us there as well, and that is nakednudistsandnaturists.com. And for no particular reason, I have not pointed this out before, so I want to take a moment to do that now. That website was put together entirely by Lisa Monroe. Not only put together, but updated. She puts the weekly shows on there every Saturday morning at 6:01 a.m. It hits Spotify at 6, and by 6:01, Lisa has it on the website. She also puts our Wednesday teasers on there. Anything affiliated with our website, Lisa Monroe developed and updates and keeps it going for us, so we thank her very much for that. But you can also write us there. We get those messages as well. And we want to ask you, is there anything else that you want from us or need from us on that website? Perhaps some links to some articles, some more information about naturism, nudism, being naked and living the clothes-free life for all of the right reasons, a regular blog. You tell us what you want, and we will find a way to get it done. But this is your safe place for naturism, nudism, naked, clothes-free living for all the right reasons, one of many safe places. We will never hurt you or harm you or get weird or do things that are untoward. We are just here celebrating the clothes-free life and what it means, and for all of the right reasons. The old adage is, and it's very true, you remove the clothes and you remove the barriers. Very true. There's something that comes over you when the clothes come off. You feel free, you feel alive, you feel energetic. Just listen to the stories that we hear on this show, as well as other shows and in print. That story happens over and over again. Somebody feels bad about themselves, a poor body image, the clothes come off, and suddenly, whoa, this feels pretty good. And it does. That's how it all begins with clothes-free living. Well, on today's show, we will have part 2 of my interview with Carrie Jane. She owns the BHH Naturist Resort, Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands. Just a terrific woman. She's accomplished so much in life and so much more to go. And we'll talk to Carrie Jane today, part 2, about her naturism journey, about her resort, and how you can visit her and stay, book a stay there, and enjoy her naturist resort and also all of the nude beaches on the Canary Islands. Of course, our weekly correspondent, Lisa Monroe, will be with us in just a few minutes, mostly talking today about young British naturism. And I have a few thoughts on that before we get to Lisa Monroe coming in. But it's a part of British naturism, young British naturism. They're catering to those who are 18 to 35, so we'll talk about that with Lisa. We also have a voice message from one of our regular listeners who also writes in on a regular basis, email as well as Twitter. His name is Scott, and I asked him to put his thoughts to a recording, and he did that for us. We'll get to that in just a moment. And before we get to any of that, I want to draw your attention to a gentleman down in New Zealand. He goes by the name of Bop Badger, B-O-P Badger. He runs a blog called A Comfort of Naturists, and I will give you the address. It's in the show notes as well, aconz.substack.com. Writes a weekly blog on naturism, naturist activities, what's going on in the world, the good, the bad, the indifferent, the just being naked thing. A very excellent writer. A lot of people believe they can write, and sometimes they can. Well, Bop Badger is definitely an excellent writer. And I invite you to check him out. And again, that's aconz.substack.com. And every week, a brand new article. And I also came across an article online. It's actually a question posed online. And the question is, why does it feel good to be naked outside? And the gentleman who posed this question, I'll give you all of the information in just a few moments, had over 3,000 answers, but over 9 million views. So something that gets 9 million views, I think is worth interest and certainly worth our time to present that to you. So we will do that in just a few moments. But before we do, I wanted to get to Scott. He had some follow-up information on some shows that we recently did. So here we are, the voice message from a regular listener from Texas, Scott.
Frank, another great Triple N show, a possible new shorthand for the show. The feeling of sadness some people have as the seasons change is called seasonal affective disorder. For those affected, it generally happens as the days get shorter and the weather cools down. There are several therapies to cope with, like using light therapy that mimics the sun. I don't know much beyond that, but that's basically what it's about. As for Lady Gaga, her real name is Stephanie Germanotta. She got her stage name from a Queen song called Radio Gaga, one of their moderate hits from the 80s. The video had a cutting-edge technology at the time, as Freddie Mercury managed to superimpose his image on the old Metropolis silent film from back in the 20s. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube if you're interested in seeing what that looked like. Lady Gaga isn't the only artist to have recorded nude. Susanna Hoffs of the Bangles recorded Eternal Flame, the song which became a #1 hit for them back in '89. Supposedly, Cyndi Lauper recorded her top 10 hit in the 80s called She Bop, either topless or nude. Finally, streaking seems to have hit its peak around 1974. This based on the fact that Ray Stevens had a #1 hit in spring of that year, and it also it seems like on Match Game at the game show at the time, that every other question was about streaking. I had to ask my mom at the time what that really meant. I kind of had an idea, but was not really sure. Sorry this is such a long email this time, but thank you for all you do and your great job on the show, Frank and Lisa. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
And there you go, from listener Scott. He did write an original email, and I said, could you just put this to your voice, because it's fairly lengthy, and for me to read somebody's lengthy email is one thing, but for them to put it in their voice, their own voice, is another, and to me, much better. And we asked Scott to do that, and he did, so we appreciate that very much. We encourage your letters as well. As I mentioned, direct messages on Twitter is the best way. You can also reach email, nakedforevermore@gmail.com. And, of course, at our website, nakednudistandnaturists.com, put together by Lisa Monroe. Cannot forget to tell you that. We enjoy hearing from you, and from time to time we will read messages on the air. We'll have you record them if you want to do so. Well, let me get to this question now that I found posed online. It's from the website Quora. Most people know what that is, Quora.com. And this gentleman named Al Fittipaldi, says he's an actor and a model, said, "Why does it feel good to be naked outside?" And his answer is, it feels good to be naked anywhere I am. However, being outdoors without the encumbrance of clothing is amazing. The wind and the sun, even the rain on my body, is exhilarating and makes me feel the freedom of being like an animal in my environment as nature intended. And as I mentioned, over 3,000 answers. Here's one from a guy who calls himself John Johnson, nudist, educated in life. It feels good to be nude outside for the same reason it feels good to be nude. Not wearing clothes feels good because of the lack of restriction on the body. Some feel it more than others. Being outdoors means that you also have less restriction in your surroundings. Being nude outdoors means that you have no restrictions at all. Not on you or around you. Not only does the air, sun, rain, etc. feel good, but it feels good on your skin. Being outdoors is way better than being inside and better for your health. Being nude and outdoors is the best for your health and mind. And I don't think anybody here would disagree with anything that you just heard. It feels great to be clothes-free. And it's more than a physical thing. The non-naturist person tends to think it must be sexual. They're taking their clothes off. Oh boy, here we go. No, not at all. Not at all. They are not necessarily related. But it does remove the barriers. Societal barriers, psychological barriers, emotional barriers, spiritual barriers, and certainly the physical ones. To be nude, whether you're nude indoors or definitely outside, as those people just mentioned, the wind, the sun, even the rain, they feel good on your body. Before we get to Lisa Monroe, I also want to mention again that while we give you a brand new show every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, we also give you a preview of the upcoming show every Wednesday at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. That's right. We spoil you 2 days a week. How about that? So the full show is Saturday and the few days before that on Wednesday. We give you a preview, and the only way you can get to that preview is by going to YouTube or our website. Go to YouTube, type in Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, and you will see right now, if you go there right now, 16 previews. We didn't start this till about episode 10 or 11, so we went back in time and did those, and now we do one every week for you. And you can find them, YouTube. You can also find them on our website, Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Lisa Monroe, again, who runs our website, gets those posted first thing on Wednesday mornings, and you can check them out. It tells you what's coming up on the show. I should also mention we do post those on Twitter as well, so you can get them from YouTube, from our website, from our Twitter feed, Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. We're all over the place. If you like the preview on Wednesday morning, and then get ready for the show on Saturday morning, we'd be glad to have you. We're going to bring Lisa Monroe in here in just a few moments to talk about Young British Naturism. On their website, Young British Naturist, they say the Young British Naturist, or YBN to our friends, is official BN/INF youth group in the UK. If you're aged 18 to 35 and want to enjoy the pleasure of clothes-free living or just getting your kid off for a skinny dip with friends, then this is the group for you. YBN, and again that's Young British Naturist, allows you the opportunity to enjoy freedom from your clothes and the joy it brings while being around other people your own age in almost any way you like. Our members come from all backgrounds and walks of life. Some grew up with naturist parents, and for others, YBN is their first naturist experience. So we'll talk to Lisa Monroe about that in just a few moments. I've talked to a number of people in that age range. I'm not in that age range anymore. I'm above 35, the understatement of the year. But when I talk to young people about naturism and going to a resort, every single person, and I mean everyone, has told me we'll go, but if you expect me to sit naked at the pool all day, well, that's probably not going to happen. People our age, and again 18 to 35, need things to do. Keep us active, keep us excited, keep us enthused, give us a chance to be naked by the pool when we choose to do so, but don't expect us to stay there all day. And a few people mentioned, like old people do. I've enjoyed being naked at the pool, naked at the beach forever. I can do that hours on end, but not everybody can in that age range. I could when I was in that age range, but not everybody can. And so I guess that's the key. First of all, the key, as YBN has pointed out, let's get you out there with people your own age. So if you're 25, you're not hanging with somebody who's 75. Nothing wrong with that, but obviously they can relate to people their own age a little bit better. And so they get out there and they do various activities. And to me, that's how you realize the true total joy of naturism. It's great to be nude alone when you're in your home or outside, again, when you're alone. It's better to share it with another person, and it's really terrific when you share it with a lot of people. Whether you have 5 or 10 people over, whether you have a few hundred at a resort, social naturism brings out the very best. And you've heard this on this show many times as well as other places. Obviously, it strips away everything. You cannot tell which person is a millionaire and which person barely scrapes by week to week because we no longer have the societal trappings. We don't have the fancy 3-piece suit, the fancy evening gown, the very expensive jewelry and shoes. We don't have any of that. We just have us. We have ourselves. We have our nude bodies. And no matter who you are, whether you're the scraping by week-to-week person or the multimillionaire over here, now we're equal. Now we can just look at each other and talk to each other as human being to human being. And to many of us, maybe all of us, that is truly what it is all about. Clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. And without question, when you meet up with a naturist, it's not very unusual that friendships form rather quickly because people are in their natural state. There's no baloney, there's no faking, there's no phoniness. There's, oh boy, I hope he doesn't find out this, or maybe I should tell him that. No, it's just, hey, we're here. We're enjoying the wind, the sun, maybe the rain, maybe inside, watching a football game, for heaven's sakes. Clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. You are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 16 today. We thank you very much for being with us. We enjoy this time being with you to discuss this topic. Being naked, being a nudist, being a naturist, being clothes-free, and enjoying everything that comes with it. That's why we give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time on Spotify. It branches out from there. We give you your weekly fix, so to speak, on naturism, nudism, being naked, clothes-free for all the right reasons. And, of course, we give you the promo/preview every Wednesday morning on YouTube. Well, as you can tell by the music that has been sneaking in underneath me here, it is time for our weekly correspondent, the terrific Lisa Monroe. Let's bring in our weekly correspondent, the terrific Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. I'm doing great. And how about you this kind of gloomy morning where we are?
Well, in the world of naturism, it's never gloomy.
This is very true. This is
always hot and sunny. It was some show out there. I forgot the name of it. It might have been Philadelphia. It's always
yeah,
sunny in Philadelphia.
hot and sunny in
Yeah.
Philadelphia or something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, it's always hot and sunny in the world of naturism.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about Young British Naturism today. It's a group you found. I've heard about them before, haven't explored much about it because I'm no longer in that age range, but Young British Naturism, a group for ages 18 to 35. What did you find out? What's going on with them?
Well, first of all, speak for yourself about age ranges. No,
I
no,
did.
I'm kidding. No, actually, I'm not either. So, but we can pretend for a minute.
That's right.
Basically, I found this article. I was always looking for things that are timely about the community, and found this article in the Telegraph in London. It seems like all the good articles come from somewhere else besides the U.S.
Yeah.
But they're the Young British Naturism. They're kind of an offshoot of the full British Naturism group. It's a group for 18 to 35-year-olds, and they are, they're trying to grow their numbers because the survey was done, in which it's, on one hand, the survey was really great because it showed that British naturism had grown by almost by 750,000 people in the course of a very short number of years. And so it went from like 6 million to 6.5 million who identified themselves as naturists on a survey that was done. And so, but the fact is, the average age is around 60. So, so they're obviously young and older involved, but the young group is trying to make that happen and keep people from thinking that naturism is only for, those who are retired and have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
And which is not true. So they've started some programs and some efforts to raise those numbers.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if this is true in the United States or other countries, but I've had people from the UK tell me this. A younger person, if you try to get them, hey, let's go to the club and hang out naked all day, they might not go. But if you say, hey, there's a naked 5K and we can raise some money for charity, they're there in a half a second, clothes off, except for their shoes, and they're running a race. Or some naked swim or whatever. If there's some event to go to where they can do some good by, raising money for a charity, they'll take their clothes off quickly and do it. But to get them involved in the actual naturism lifestyle sometimes takes a while. But of course, like we know, once they try it, they're in. And as part of the deal with Young British Naturism, let's not wait till they're 60. Let's get them in early. So when they become 35, 40, they're already in. They've been in for a number of years, right?
I think so. And I think part of it too is it's just that passage of time, that kind of rite of passage, and that young people are still sort of searching for who they are and what their identity should be. And so they have lots of peer pressure. They're working on their careers or a young family and or just, college, whatever. And so there are a lot of other pressures on them that kind of, even though those of us who have passed 35 may still have those kind of pressures on us, we've also learned to deal with them and handle what we have to do. So it's easier for us to say, hey, this is who I am, and I don't care what you think. And that's maybe not true for a lot of young people, but it's encouraging to see that they want to do this and that they're trying to increase these numbers, because this is a wonderful way to live. And when trying to share it, it's kind of interesting to see that some people are so opposed to it. And that again comes back to, they don't know who they are. They don't have good body identification. They're just, they're existing, and they're frightened of doing anything that's out of the norm.
Well, I noticed looking at an article from Young British Naturism, a lot of what they do is they try to get the naturism surrounding activities or activities surrounding the naturism. Kind of like what I said before. Hey, you want to come out and hang out naked for a while? No, I don't think so. But hey, why don't you come on down? We'll play volleyball naked, or
Exactly.
some other games they had going on. Are you seeing that more and more? Is that what they're doing?
I think that's what they're doing. They're having comedy nights. They're doing
Yeah.
sports events. They're at swimming pools and at sports venues. They're planning trips abroad to different naturist communities in Europe, apparently, mostly for them. And so they're just festivals. There's a huge, apparently, British family festival every year. And so
Yeah.
they're kind of trying to bring more people into that. And so there's a real active effort in Britain, and I'm sure in other places, to encompass a different group of society. I don't know what we're doing here. I know that there's a big movement for women, there's a big movement for just people in general, but I have yet to find any information. I've gone through a lot of places to see if there's some structured effort on the part of the US to do this.
I'm not sure. There have been groups that have tried, but they've gone away for whatever reason. Either the lack of funding, lack of time, they end up having kids of their own, so now their time is really gone. So I don't know what the answer is. It sounds like the young British naturism has a lot of people involved. So if there's a young woman involved and she suddenly gets married and has two kids, there's somebody else to fill in the time that she can't make. And the people I'm thinking about, I don't want to give names away to embarrass anybody, but it's basically one or two people. Well, that's a lot to put on people, especially I'm guessing they were mostly doing it for free. I think they eventually wanted to turn it into a money making business, but they weren't able to. And so, how long can you do something for free when you're 18 to 35 and you're expected to work and put food on the table and so on down the road? So, maybe the key is having a lot of people involved, right?
I think so, and that goes back to what I said, is that I think remember the focus in the United States on career and workload is completely different than it is from the rest of the world. Basically, we work like little carpenter ants every day. Just go
Yeah.
do it, go do it, go do it, go do it. Don't take time off. No, you can't take time off from your job. So I think
Yeah.
there's a work balance issue that maybe a lot of young people don't have yet. And I think that has changed a little bit with this younger generation, though.
Mhm.
There's some who just say, hey, I'm not working 80 hours a week. So if we can get people to that level where they understand that the relaxation of naturism can balance the rest of their life, then I think that's a good thing. And just the camaraderie too, having people of like mind, but from all walks of life. So that broadens your horizons. You're not just hanging around with engineers. You're hanging around with
Mhm.
engineers and a whole bunch of other people. So
Yeah.
I think it's a really good thing for the human psyche. And I think these kids should be commended, or I shouldn't say kids, these young
Yeah.
people in England should be commended for the
Mhm.
effort that they're making.
Yeah. Well, the spokesperson, I guess he's the group's leader, Jonathan Ward, he's age 30. But when I read quotes from him, he sounds like he's 30 going on 50, going, I mean, he's a very obviously mature guy and an old soul, as we call them. And it's not meant to be offensive, Jonathan Ward. If you're listening, that's a compliment.
It is very much a compliment.
He had a quote. It's the community aspect of nature's and the social side that a lot of people come here for and end up staying for. So just to hang out naked by yourself or with one buddy or one pal is one thing, but the big social thing where everybody shows up and everybody's naked, that's when you really enjoy life to its fullest. At least it's been my experience. You too?
I agree, and because I think you reach that point where the that stigma or that fear, the more there's safety in numbers, the more
Mm.
people there are, the less you feel that intimidation or that concern or that awareness. And I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Now, he had some quote a decade ago, and you referenced this a little bit. 6% of British folks identified as naturists. Now it's up to 14. Obviously, more than doubled just in a decade. So maybe the news is better than we thought.
It may very well be. And again, I think because of the cultural differences between the US and a lot of other places in the world, and there are some that feel the same way too, we're going to lag behind a little bit
Yeah.
in how we enlarge this community and make it stronger and better for everybody. But if it's 10 or if it's 100, it's still naturist and we still love it. So
That's right.
we'll hope for the 110 at some point in time.
That's true.
And I commend the people who are working hard to make this happen. We've got great groups that govern the community, and so the efforts are there, but I don't know that they're as consolidated as what we're seeing in some other places.
Yeah. And in the UK, their laws are a bit different. You can literally walk up and down the street naked. You want to go for a lot of people, even the US, go for a walk at night or in the morning. And they always have clothes on unless they can find a place that's isolated. But UK, crowded subdivision, off to come to close, or clothes never go on. You go for a walk. Legally, it's fine. You can do that. Can't do that in the USA. So until maybe that's the answer, we need to change some laws to make it universally accepted. As long as it's again clothes for living for the right reasons, not being a weirdo or a psycho, just enjoying the life for what it's meant to be. Maybe that's the ticket. What do you think?
I do agree with that. I think that this community in the U.S. has some barriers to cross. Sometimes people think nudism is one thing, and it's not what they think, and it represents sometimes violence or deviant behavior or whatever. So we have some cultural issues, I think, to cross before we can also get the laws to change. So it's kind of a catch-22, but we just have to keep working.
Yeah, and that is one of the issues. There are people who use naturism, nudism for the wrong reasons, and that does hinder what we're trying to do. And I've thought about, we don't talk politics on the show, but I think I might run for president of the United States of America. And when I get elected, I'll take office, January 20th, inauguration.
Mm-hmm.
My first executive order will be every American must be clothes free for the next week. If
Ooh.
you're caught with clothes on, you're in big trouble. Like 100,000 years in prison. And so everybody had their clothes off for a week. And after 1 week, I will decree the executive order is over. You can live as you choose. And then I will resign from office after 1 week. If we do that, and for any listeners getting squeamish out there, yeah, I'm kidding. I'm being facetious, but it'd be a good idea.
Well, I'd vote for
if
you,
we
Frank.
did that, yeah, okay. Clothes off for a week.
Exactly.
I wonder, percentage-wise, how many would just stay that way? And my guess is a fairly high percentage. Like, hey, this is actually pretty good. We love President Frank. Please don't resign. Nope, I have to go. But sometimes just trying it is the answer.
Sometimes hitting people over the head with a executive decree might do the job. I don't know. I think that, there's a time and place for everything, but people need to understand that even if they don't choose to do it, we enjoy it. And so there needs to be some sort of coming together here in how we live cohesively with this, but I just don't know. I think the U.S. has a bit of a ways to go, but we're getting there.
Yep, but definitely the British naturism folks, the young British naturism folks, have their acting gear. We wanted to give them a tip of the hat. And Lisa Monroe, as always, terrific job. Thank you for everything, and we will see you clothes free on the next show.
I'll be here clothes free. Good to see you, Frank. Thanks.
All right, you bet. The terrific Lisa Monroe. She comes in dancing to that music and leaves dancing to that music. We need to get a video of her dancing. I think that would might even break the internet. She just walked out, so she cannot hear me right now, so I can get away with such things, but she is a terrific dancer, actually, and I mean that very seriously. Dances very well, moves and grooves very well, I think because she just enjoys being alive and living the clothes-free life for all of the right reasons. All the barriers are gone, and she's just here to have a good time and enjoy life, but also works very hard, not only on this show, but other things that she does in life. And don't forget, she is the one who runs our website here, so we appreciate Lisa Monroe a lot. Before we get to part 2 of my interview with Carrie Jane, the BHH Naturist Resort in Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands, I was given a list of naturist organizations might be worth checking out. The American Association for Nude Recreation, British Naturism, we just talked about, British Sunbathers Association, the Naturist Society, the Federation of Canadian Naturists, the American Nudist Research Library, the Naturist Action Committee, Rock Ledge Club. You already know about beaches from Linda Weber from last week. The International Naturist Federation, and the NFN, which stands for the Dutch Federation of Naturist Associations for Nude Recreation in the Netherlands. And there are so many more out there. If you want to get involved with naturism, nudism, being naked, clothes-free living for all the right reasons, there are many resources out there, so check them out. We encourage you to do so. You are listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 16 today. Thank you very much for being with us. We love having you with us for this journey on nudism, naturism, clothes-free living for all the right reasons, and enjoying life to the fullest. That's why we give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, right on Spotify, right away at 6. Branches out to other podcast platforms throughout the day. We have no control over that. We only have control over the 6 a.m. Eastern Time on Spotify. A lot of people check us out right away. 6 a.m. rolls around and the hits start coming in. And we've been noticing more and more people are listening to the entire show, and we appreciate that as well. Remember to get in touch with us. Email nakedforevermore@gmail.com. On Twitter, Naked Nudists and Naturists. You can also hit us up at our website and leave a message, nakednudistsandnaturists.com. We read everything that you send, and we respond to everything that you send, and we enjoy the interaction with you, the listener, so please continue to do so early and often. Well, let's get to part 2 now of my interview with the terrific Carrie Jane, the owner-operator of the BHH Naturist Resort in Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands. And on her website, it says, a perfectly cozy adults-only boutique resort to be with like-minded people, clothing optional. Spacious sun terraces surround a large solar-heated swimming pool with plenty of comfortable chairs, sunbeds, and beanbags. There's a fully stocked Honesty Bar, a large brick-built barbecue area, and a shaded pagoda decking area for alfresco dining and chilling out in front of a fire pit. The Balinese-style bed is always a favorite spot for daytime reading and snoozing in the year-round sunshine. The airport is just 50 minutes away. The local unspoiled naturist beaches are just a 10-minute walk away from the apartments. Check her out, naturistcanaries.com, and I'm pretty sure you're going to book a stay right away because it's such a gorgeous place. So let's get to it right now. Part 2 of my interview with the terrific Carrie Jane.
But we used to bring theatre shows from all over the world. And at one point, we were touring with the Texas Tenors, who won America's Got Talent one year.
Okay.
Not that they got naked, but we did do some saucy, publicity shots with them at one point.
Right.
But we produced a show, Naked Boys Singing, which was in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And then another show called The Naked Truth, which was actually about pole dancing as a fitness rather than, anything else. So, it's intriguing that the word naked seems to have sort of followed me around somehow. A bit worrying, but there you go.
Well, isn't the Naked Boys Singing, isn't that basically literally men coming on stage naked and singing? It is what it is, right?
It is what it is, but it is a phenomenal show.
Yeah.
Yes. When we first went and saw the show with a view to producing it, we was in the audience, and they didn't know that it was that there were potential producers there, and one of the guys literally climbed over rows and rows of audience members to sit on my lap. Now, he claimed that he didn't know who I was, but that was quite an experience. I've never had anyone stay here as a guest who sat on my lap, so that's I'm quite thankful for that, really.
And I'm guessing he was naked at the time he sat on your lap.
Totally naked. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It was a what I thought was a once in a lifetime experience of being that close to a nude stranger. Yeah. But of course now it's how I earn my living. Yeah. So yeah. Intriguing.
Yeah, there's a play out there. It's also a movie. I don't know if the movie came first or the play, but called The Full Monty. And I think that was originated in the UK, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It absolutely was. Yes. Yeah. That's in the West End, actually. I think it's coming to the West End and maybe then going on to Broadway, or it's already been or something. But yeah, I mean, great, absolutely great. It's yeah, good fun. It's a good fun movie.
Yeah.
So
now that's actually I've not said this before, but that's the play that I was in. I was in it 2 different times, 2 different theaters, 2 different productions, and loved every second of it. Now, if you offer me a role in Naked Boys Singing, I'll sign up. I can sing, I can get naked, so why not?
Okay, maybe the theatre is calling me back, all these years later. Who knows? I think it would take a lot for me to move away from you, though, sadly.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've seen the photos online of your resort. We're talking to Carrie Jane today, the owner of the BHH Naturist Resort in, I get to say it again, Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands. And I've seen the pictures online. Of course, you have a beautiful pool with a huge deck. Maybe you could stage theater right there, naked boys singing of the full Monty right there on your pool deck.
Well, maybe. Not. I wouldn't like to compare the two, but this week now I'm hosting a naked yoga retreat.
Okay.
So I've got 10 men practicing yoga and meditation, spirituality this week at the resort. So that's quite exciting. We will see if they decide to start singing and doing a bit of karaoke in the evening or not, because it starts on Saturday.
Well, I want to make sure you're a good hostess, Carrie Jane, and make sure you go around and ask these gentlemen if they need a drink or need an extra towel. You'd be a really good hostess and be highly visible for them. Will you promise to do that?
Yes, yes. I think I will be visible. Yes. Yeah, yeah. I'll be handing out the cucumber slices for their eyes, when they're relaxing in the afternoons when it's too hot to be practicing yoga. Yeah.
That's very smart. Well, let's talk about your resort now. The BHH Naturist Resort. It started off as a home for you and your husband at the time. Gorgeous house. I've seen it online. Gorgeous pool. I've seen that online. And see, it's 5 apartments altogether, but you live in one of them. Then you rent out the other 4. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah. So I'm on site. I have to say, and you won't be surprised to hear this, that my apartment is like the penthouse suite. So I'm right on the top. So I've got magnificent views of the Atlantic Ocean and obviously the resort of Costa Calma. And then 4 apartments that are available for naturists, depending on what facilities they want. One in particular has got dishwasher, washing machine, all the facilities for self catering, and the outdoor life, because that's what it is here. The climate is amazing. Even on Christmas Day, the guests will be in the swimming pool.
Yeah, that's great. Well, what about food? Do they make their own food? Do you serve food there? Is it prepared for them? How does all that work?
Okay, well, the naked yoga, we're preparing all the food. Well, the yoga practitioners have organized all the food, healthy food, for the guests. But generally, it's self catering, and at least once a week we do an organized evening, be it a barbecue or a quiz or cocktails. Yeah, we like our aperitivos at 6 o'clock. That's kind of part of the daily. I want to say routine, but there's no routine here because it's very flexible. But yeah, prosecco at 6, or Bloody Mary is lovely. Watching the sunset.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
If people want to book a trip with you, do they stay one day? Do they stay a week? Do they have a choice, or do you have a package up front?
Right. Well, I just provide accommodation. I do work with an agency who can organise the flights. But its minimum stay would be 5 nights. But I mean, last year I had a couple stay for 5 months.
Wow.
In one of the apartments. So it's perfect for the winter sun because, as I said, the climate is so fantastic that a lot of people come for guaranteed sunshine, and they might stay a week or 2 or longer. Which is good. And then a huge majority of my guests are repeat, so they come back year after year. I mean, I've had a couple stay here 6 times already.
Yeah.
So yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, you have the type of clients who, as they stay with you for, let's say, 5 nights, as they're leaving, they book again for the next year. They do that quite a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 That's great.
I mean, I've had a phone call this morning from a guy who left 2 weeks ago, he stayed for a week, and now he wants to book 2 weeks in November. So, it couldn't be better, to be honest, because he knows what to expect. He was traveling on his own, got the most amazing suntan, which he told me is fading now. So that's why he wants to come back in November.
Good for him. Now, of course, that's not an issue with you. I see
Yeah.
photos of you online. You're always tanned, aren't you?
Yeah, I try, but I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I must admit, I don't lie out in it for hours on end. That's I don't have time to do that basically. But yeah, I mean, because it's always beautiful. Um, you have to be careful with making sure you've got sun cream and the usual. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, very much so. Now, if somebody books a trip to go to your place, what should they bring with them? Obviously, they don't need to bring a lot of clothes, but what should they bring along?
I provide more or less, beach towels. I can provide. I can do pick them up from the airport directly, bring them here, and then when they're here, if they get fed up of lying in the sun, we can go and do an excursion. A couple of weeks ago, we went on a goat walking trek up the mountain. So we led these goats on a walk and had a picnic, which was fantastic. Um, Apparently, I'm quite a lucky person because I love being on the water. So I love sailing, yachts, and any kind of boat. And I always see dolphins. So the skippers always say, oh, why don't you come? Because we always see dolphins when you're
Yeah.
there. And that's amazing. And we do naked sailing. So the skipper, and the guests, we all strip off, jump off the side. It's heaven, like being in the Caribbean.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. So if people come to you, you said they can fly into Madrid. How do they get from Madrid to the BHH Naturist Resort?
Yeah, direct, 2 hours. I do it a lot. So yeah, into Madrid and then directly to Fuerteventura in 2 hours. And there's other Spanish cities that also fly to the Canary Islands frequently. So it's very easy to get to once you've made the long haul from the States. Very easy, I promise you. And it would be great to see more American naturists. Actually, we've had a few, but not recently.
Where do they mostly come from then? Europe, I'm guessing, or
Europe, yeah. I have a lot of British guests because obviously I'm British. And I work with the British Naturism, which is the UK's largest naturist organisation. So I have a lot of marketing that I do with them. I sponsor some of their events, and hundreds of members have stayed with me. And Germany, Spain, and Italy, I would say, but the British are by far the biggest crowds that I get here usually. But it'd be great to see others.
from what I can tell, and I could be wrong, but it seems like the British Naturism group is one of the most important naturism groups in the entire world. They seem to be everywhere doing a lot of great things for naturists. Am I correct on that?
I would say so as well, but
Yeah.
I think Germany, they've got a big naturist population. But yeah, certainly British Naturism are doing an amazing job at promoting naturism, and in fact, they have just introduced a woman's officer on their council, so she will be directly promoting women into naturism. And I've met Helen Berryman, and I think it's just so exciting that the topic is being taken in a positive way, of how we can get more women into naturism. So, and in fact, next year in April, I'm running a women only naturist holiday with British Naturism. So, and I've
Nice.
not announced that yet. So you're the first to know about that. We've just
All right.
agreed the dates in
Okay.
April.
Yeah. I just recently heard about Helen Berryman, maybe just a few months ago, some interviews, some things she's done. She's the one who basically shows up in everywhere and gets naked, right? For one reason or another.
She does. Yes, she does. Her and her husband Simon are very proactive. And I think that's exactly what we need. They're the right age, to attend all these events and generally publicize naturism as being normal. She was recently on television, even giving an interview. And I don't know, but maybe that was the first time they'd ever had a naked person, sat on the sofa giving an interview. But it was, I think it's really exciting, really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for her. A huge fan of hers. Never met her, never talked to her, but I hope to fairly soon because she's doing great work and she is exactly the type of person we need in the naturist world to encourage other women to do it. And I think she's doing a great job.
Exactly. I'll be more than happy to make the introductions between yourselves. So yeah, because she's got so many plans, for the future that yeah, you need to hear about directly from her.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that very much. Now, the country that surprises me for naturism is Germany, because in the states we hear about Germany back 100 years ago. You know what went on there, all the bad stuff, and the people couldn't do anything at all. But suddenly they're a huge naturist country. Are they the biggest in terms of naturism in Europe? Do you think, or pretty close to it?
I would say probably yes. Not that I've
Mm,
got the statistics to prove it,
right.
but if you read publicity and you meet some German people, they would claim that they created naturism because they call it FKK.
Yeah, I saw.
And I'm not sure anyone can create, taking your clothes off because we all do that naturally. But yes, yeah, and even the beaches here in Fuerteventura, there's a lot of rocks that are written. I mean, it looks like it's written in blood, but it says FKK, which is free. It means free clothing culture, and so I find that quite funny, really.
Yeah.
But in Germany, well, I think most of the Europeans, and I've maybe I don't know whether to include the British in this or not since Brexit, but anyway, most of the Europeans are open-minded and very liberal in terms of naturism. And in fact, in their towns and cities, they have saunas and spas and places to go where you have to be nude. There is no option. I mean, and look, Scandinavia as well. You cannot go into a sauna with any clothes on. Yeah, I think it's just adopting, some of their views will be, good for all of us.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I fully agree. I'm glad to hear that. And I was even told in Germany, you can just go to a public park, just a regular park, and take your clothes off and lie out in the sun. Is that true? Did I hear it correctly?
Maybe they have maybe they have areas, set aside for this, FKK culture.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine if it was a recreational park and there was loads of kids playing football and all the rest of it, and then you took all your clothes off. Um, that just wouldn't be appropriate. But yeah, if they have special areas, then fantastic,
Yeah.
good. I think that's the future, maybe. Who
Yeah.
knows?
And that might be what it is. That's why I thought I'd ask for clarification. So if somebody wants to visit you, again, we're talking to Carrie Jane, owns the BHH Naturist Resort in the Canary Islands, Fuerteventura. I got to say it again. If they want to book a trip, book a stay with you, how do they do that? Is there a website you want to put out there? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, thank you very much. So my web address is naturistcanaries.com. And also I'm quite active recently on Twitter, although it's now called X. I'm not sure how I feel about
Yeah.
that. But changing the name to X, but I love it. It's more immediate. I've been on Instagram and Facebook for a long time. Well, 3 or 4 years. It's a long time for me in doing naturism. But yeah, Twitter. I really like Twitter. It's good. I think that's how we hooked up actually on Twitter, wasn't it?
I was just going to mention that's how we found each other. We found each other on Twitter, started communicating. It's like, we got to get this lady on the show because she has her acting gear in terms of naturism, promoting women's empowerment, getting more women involved in naturism. Now the free the nipple thing you're big into. So yeah, we should have done this a long time ago. So I am glad we met on Twitter.
Good. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. It's great to spread the word.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
do you post, try to post every day on Twitter? Do you message people? What is your presence on Twitter?
Yeah, I post every day, and I'm a BHH underscore naturist on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to remember my my handle. I think it's called handle in the Twitterati world.
Now, just out of curiosity, your resort is called BHH Naturist Resort. Can you tell us what the BHH stands for?
I can indeed, and this goes back to my love of California, everything American. It stands for Beverly Hills Heights.
Okay. I thought so. I thought there was Beverly Hills in there somewhere. A lot of naturism in California when you were out there, or not necessarily?
No, we didn't. It was a very long time ago. But since we named the villa, the Villa Beverly Hills, the entire area where I'm located in Costa Calma is called Beverly Hills. So there's lots of big villas with pools, private, lots of space in this particular area. So even if you even if you arrived at the airport and asked somebody to take you to Beverly Hills in Costa Calma, they would know because it's quite interesting. When if I meet people in Costa Calma and I say I live in Beverly Hills, they immediately know the area.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's good. Another trendsetter.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, it's been great to have talked to you today. We've been talking to Carrie Jane. She owns the BHH Nature Resort in, I get to say it again, Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands. And Carrie, you put your website out there as naturistcanaries.com. And I want to thank you on behalf of everybody for all that you're doing for promoting naturism for all the right reasons, clothes-free living for all the right reasons, certainly women's empowerment, the Free the Nipple campaign, everything you're doing on behalf of everybody involved. We thank you very much for all you've done.
Bless you. Thank you. It was great talking to you. Yes.
Yeah,
Despite the wonky Wi-Fi at times, apologies for the delay.
Well, we can't have it all in life, right? We can be clothed with great internet or naked with, wonky internet, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Well, at least that's the only thing wonky about it. We're doing what we choose, living the life we choose to live.
That's right. That's exactly right. And again, Carrie Jane, we want you to check her out. Naturistcanaries.com is her website, the BHH Naturist Resort. Book a trip, get there, you get your clothes off, you get taken care of by Carrie Jane. And Carrie Jane, thank you very much for all your time. Let's definitely do this again soon.
Indeed, that would be great. I look forward to it.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
The terrific Carrie Jane from the BHH Naturist Resort, Fuerteventura. That might be the last time I get a chance to say that word until she comes back on. So I'll say it once more. Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands. And you can find her on her website, naturistcanaries.com. That's naturistcanaries.com. Find her website. Definitely sign up for her blog. Check out all that she has to offer. What a great place. What a great resort. Right there, close to the beach, not too far from the airport. Big pool, big house, big deck, barbecue grill. She has it all. And you can follow her on Twitter as well. She often posts photos of what's going on there with her guests. And just a great time is had by all. We thank Carrie Jane from BHH Naturist Resort. I have to say it once more. Fuerteventura. And the Canary Islands. Carrie Jane, thank you. And we will definitely have her on. We thank her for all of her time on the show. Well, you've been listening to Naked Nudist and Naturist, episode 16 today. You already know, a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. On Spotify, we also post a preview of the upcoming show every Wednesday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. You can find that on YouTube, on Twitter, on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com. And we enjoy hearing from you by email, nakedforevermore@gmail.com. On Twitter, a direct message, Naked Nudist and Naturist. You can find us there. And also you can leave a message through Spotify and through our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com. And if you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to answer the poll question today. We have a question about how often you are nude outside. So check it out and just let us know. We enjoy hearing from you all the time. We love having you with us. We know that you love us being with you. We are in this journey together, celebrating the clothes-free life for all the right reasons. Well, thank you for being with us today on Naked Nudist and Naturist, episode 16 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked Nudist and Naturist.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.